Have you ever wondered how to know if the Holy Spirit is in you? This is a question that many Christians face in their journey of faith. The presence of the Holy Spirit is not something we necessarily see or touch, but rather something we feel and experience. And today, you will discover clear signals that indicate whether the Holy Spirit is really working in your life. I will show you how to recognize this divine presence and how it transforms your life from the inside out. We begin with the biblical signals that point to the presence of the Holy Spirit. In the New Testament, especially in the Acts of the Apostles, we see several examples of how people were impacted by the Holy Spirit. They spoke in tongues, they prophesied, and, most of all, their lives were transformed. But we don't always need such a dramatic manifestation to realize that the Holy Spirit is with us. Often, its presence is gentle, like a breeze, shaping our character in a subtle but profound way. One of the most common ways to perceive the Holy Spirit within you is through inner peace. It is not an ordinary peace, but something that goes beyond the circumstances around you. You may be facing difficulties, challenges, and yet there is an inexplicable peace that remains. This is one of the first signals that the Holy Spirit is working within you, bringing calm in the midst of the storm. The Holy Spirit reminds us that God is in control and that we can trust Him no matter the situation. Another important sign is the change in attitudes and behaviors. If you begin to notice that your reactions to challenging situations are smoother, if you respond with more love, patience, kindness, and self-control, it is possible that this is the Holy Spirit acting. The Bible calls this the fruit of the Spirit, a transformation that occurs as we allow God's Spirit to guide our actions. People around you may even comment on how different, more command-centered you seem. But how can we strengthen this connection with the Holy Spirit? The answer lies in prayer and communion with God. Prayer is one of the most powerful ways to connect with the Spirit. It's not just about talking to God, but also about listening. Sometimes we are so busy asking and talking that we forget to stop and listen to what the Holy Spirit has to say to us. So, reserving moments of silence in the presence of God can be transformative, as it is in these moments that the Spirit can speak directly to your heart. Spiritual discernment is another powerful indicator. When the Holy Spirit is in you, you begin to perceive things differently. It is as if your spiritual eyes were opened to better understand God's will. This doesn't mean you will know the future or have all the answers, but you will begin to feel clear guidance in your decisions. Often, what seems like just an intuition is actually the Holy Spirit directing your steps. Sometimes this guidance comes in the form of an inner voice. Not an audible voice, but an impression on your spirit, something that drives you to do or avoid certain things. It can be a strong feeling that something is not right, or a deep peace when making a decision. Recognizing the voice of the Holy Spirit requires practice and sensitivity. The more time you spend with God, the more you can discern when He is speaking to you. And this is one of the most precious experiences of the Christian life. Knowing that God is personally involved in every detail of your life. Another essential point is the importance of humility. The Holy Spirit acts in humble hearts, people who recognize their dependence on God. There is no room for pride or arrogance in the life of someone filled with the Spirit. Humility puts us in a position to receive more from God, because we understand that we are not capable of doing things on our own, but it is the Spirit that empowers us. Developing a deeper relationship with God is not a needed task. It is a journey that requires patience and commitment. The Holy Spirit helps us grow in this relationship, guiding us to know more about who God is. He reveals biblical truths in ways we cannot understand on our own and helps us realize these teachings to our daily lives. Finally, living filled with the Holy Spirit is a calling for all Christians. It is not something reserved for just a few, but is available to all who sincerely seek this communion. Living filled with the Spirit means allowing Him to guide your thoughts, words, and actions every day. And the more you surrender to that direction, the more you will see the fruits of the Spirit blossom in your life. This is the true transformation that can only come from God. Throughout this journey of faith, one thing that becomes evident is that the Holy Spirit not only changes you, but also the people around you. You begin to positively influence those around you, not because you are trying to be a better person, but because the Holy Spirit is working through you. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness and self-control become evident in your life in a natural way. These are the fruits that Paul described in Galatians, and when they begin to sprout in your life, it is a clear sign that the Spirit is present. This transformation does not happen overnight. It is a continuous process, a part of sanctification. The Holy Spirit works in specific areas of your life, sometimes bringing to the surface things that need to be corrected, healed, or transformed. It may be that He reveals patterns of thought or behavior that are not aligned with God's will, and it is at that moment that the Spirit gives you the strength to change. It not only shows you what needs to be done, but also empowers you to move forward. Furthermore, the Holy Spirit brings to light a unique spiritual sensitivity. Things that once seemed normal, like old habits or harmful behaviors, now bother your spirit. You feel uncomfortable when you are outside of God's will. This is the Holy Spirit guiding you back to the right path, reminding you that God has something better for you. It's like an internal guardian, which constantly points you to what is true, noble and pure. Over time, you also notice a new hunger and thirst for God's word. When the Holy Spirit is active in your life, the Bible stops being just a book of ancient stories and becomes a living, powerful guide. Verses that previously went unnoticed now gain new meanings, and the Holy Spirit begins to teach you, bringing revelations that you may have never noticed. This is the Spirit of God teaching you, revealing truths that fit your soul and transform your mind. This renewing of the mind is one of the most significant works of the Holy Spirit. Romans 12. Двоих hearts not to be conformed to this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And the person who carries out this renewal is the Holy Spirit. It helps you see things from God's perspective, understand what really matters and life according to kingdom principles. This shift in mindset affects every area of your life, from your decisions to your relationships. But it is important to remember that this walk with the Holy Spirit requires daily dedication. It's not something that happens automatically. Jesus said we must take up our cross daily and follow Him, and part of that process is allowing the Holy Spirit to work in us every day. It is a choice to open your heart and your life so that He can guide your steps. And the more you surrender, the more the Holy Spirit has freedom to act. One point that many Christians ask themselves is how to hear the voice of the Holy Spirit clearly. This is something that develops with time and practice. When you spend time with God in prayer, reading the Word, and meditation, you begin to better discern the voice of the Spirit. Sometimes He speaks through a feeling of peace or restlessness, other times through circumstances or even people around you. But the secret is to be attentive and sensitive. It's like learning to hear one voice among many others. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to recognize. As you grow in this relationship, you realize that the Holy Spirit gives you strength you didn't even know you had. In moments of difficulty, when it seems like you won't be able to continue, the Holy Spirit sustains you. He gives you perseverance, courage and unshakable faith. That is one of the greatest privileges of being filled with the Holy Spirit, knowing that you are never alone. No matter how difficult the situation may seem, the Holy Spirit is with you, strengthening and guiding you every step of the way. Another important aspect is that the Holy Spirit is not only a comforter, but also an enabler. He gives you gifts and abilities that you need to fulfill God's purpose for your life. Whether in ministry, work, studies or family life, the Holy Spirit equips you with wisdom, discernment, creativity and strength. He gives you everything you need to be successful in what God has called you to do. Finally, Living filled with the Holy Spirit is a life of adventure. When you give yourself completely to Him, you never know where He might take you. He may get you to talk to someone who needs to hear a word of encouragement, or He may lead you to make a decision that completely changes the course of your life. But one thing is certain: when the Holy Spirit is in charge, your life will never be dull or predictable. Living filled with the Holy Spirit is, without a doubt, a transformative journey. Throughout each day, you realize that the presence of the Spirit is not something distant, but something intimate, close, that shapes your actions, thoughts and even your feelings. The Holy Spirit does not only act in the big decisions of life, but also in the small choices of everyday life. When you start to realize this, your life will never be the same. Remember that the signs of the Holy Spirit's presence are not always visible to others, but they are deep in your heart. The peace that passes all understanding, the change in your attitudes, the desire to be closer to God, and the ability to discern each other's voice are clear indicators that the Holy Spirit is working in you. It transforms, guides and, most importantly, stays with you, even in the most challenging moments. Every step you take toward a deep relationship with God is an invitation for the Holy Spirit to act in deeper areas of your life. This requires trust, surrender and a heart open to God's will. But the reward is living a life full of purpose, guided by wisdom that comes directly from above. If you want to make sure the Holy Spirit is in you, ask yourself: am I at peace in the midst of the storms? Do my actions reflect the character of Christ? Do I constantly hunger for God's presence? If the answer is yes to these questions, you are experiencing the work of the Holy Spirit. There is no doubt that living with the Holy Spirit is a life-changing gift. She is comfort in times of pain, guidance in times of doubt, and strength in times of weakness. And the most incredible thing is that He is available to everyone who sincerely seeks this communion. Life with the Spirit is a full life, a life that reflects God's love in every step. So keep seeking, keep praying, keep allowing the Holy Spirit to work in you. And remember, He not only transforms you, but He transforms the world through you. This is the beauty of living filled with the Holy Spirit, being light in a world that so needs God's presence. If you liked this video and want to receive more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave a like and share it with other people who also need to hear this message. This helps the channel grow and allows this word to reach more people. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever felt the presence of the Holy Spirit in your life? How has He transformed you? I will read all the comments. See you in the next video, and may God bless you mightily.